My last video apparently left some people confused and left someone believing that I was committing fallacies, the fallacy of equivocation, and interchanging two different definitions of the same word when they were not interchangeable. I don't believe I did this during my video. I did do it in one of the comments after I was performing this fallacy. It was not until afterward that I actually committed this fallacy. So I want to clear this up and talk about the different words. And first, the two meanings of subjective. The first of which is just to be a subject. I mean, my subjective view. It is my personal view. This is the first definition of subjective. The second definition of subjective is the characterization of nouns that are not objects. Beauty, love, things of this nature. And these are the two definitions that were said to have been being used interchangeably. I don't believe this. I believe that I was using the same form of subjective throughout, and I'm going to show why. I think another term that we should probably enter into the conversation is relative, which is dependent upon something or interconnected with something. So when we say that there is relative truth, it means that it is dependent upon something. In my case, I believe that there is relative truth in the case that it is dependent upon the subject. And this is why I say there is only subjective truth. Now, I understand that you said that this is self-defeating, and I do understand that. Everything is subjective, including this statement. Everything is subjective, except for this statement. It can go either way. It doesn't matter how I put it out there. It is my view. Now, I'm not saying that your view is any more or less wrong. I am simply showing that this is a higher level of consistency in the theories of truth that we are speaking of. Truth is a product of the human mind. You didn't disagree with this. You said that this is true. Truth is a product of the human mind. If truth is a product of the human mind, then truth is relative. It is dependent upon the human mind. It is dependent upon the human perspective. It is not separate from the human mind. It is dependent upon the human mind. This is why truth is relative, because it is dependent upon something. And this is the same thing I'm saying when I say truth is subjective. Truth is dependent upon the subject. It is not objective in any definition of the word. Some would ask the question, would there be objects if we didn't perceive them? My answer is no. Now, this doesn't mean that when we walk away that whatever we're talking about just disappears. But without perceiving it, there is no truth value of that object. There is no truth value of an object when it's not being perceived. And you can even go into conceptual perception, where you're thinking of concepts of a tree or of a lamp or this or that. That is still a conceptual perception of that object. Without any perception, there is no truth. And this shows that truth is relative. It is dependent upon the subject. So, Veritas, if you would like, you can make a video addressing this. I'm sure that you disagree. and I understand that. It took me a little while to understand what you were saying in the first place. I had to watch that video like 3 or 4 times, and finally I was like, okay, I think I have a small understanding of this. It seems that he's misunderstanding the way in which I am using subjective. I believe that the professor or whoever is also misunderstanding and putting forth a fallacy that really isn't being committed. I think that this fallacy of equivocation is not being committed when people talk of subjective truth and subjectivism in this way. So get back to me. Hopefully you have some questions or answers or whatever. Alright, peace.